to start off on their own. And their aim was to build the world's largest IT services organization. It was the mid-90s, and the two young people were my friend Santosh and myself. We learned a ton of lessons along the way, but like 6 of these lessons that come uppermost in my mind are what I want to share with each of you today. So the first lesson, ensure that your idea solves an actual problem in the world and know who your target customer is. Well, when we first started out, the going was tough. Why? Because we wanted to do everything under the sun. We wanted to sell computers, we wanted to maintain computers, and we wanted to do, everything. With the result, we didn't know who our target customers were. So we started by cold calling virtually every office in South Bombay. Those times like in 95, 96, like most of the offices were in one area of Bombay, in South Bombay. So we did exactly that. Then the second lesson, please get your financial model down cold. Our first customer was an existing client of the company that we used to work for, so we poached him. And then we leveraged on that to get a host of other customers. And then our set of customers included corporate clients as well as those from the residential sector. But in many instances, the amount that we charged as a yearly maintenance was actually less than what it cost us to travel to the customer site and back. So we were actually losing a huge amount of money, and we didn't know that at that time. The third lesson, work on your business and not in your business. We thought we were expert engineers, and we thought that was all it took to start and run a successful business. In our attempt to be perfect at everything we did, we actually ended up doing everything ourselves. Now that worked great until the time we had just a handful of clients. But as our customer base grew, we could not attend calls on time. And what's worse, the quality of our service dipped alarmingly. And our profit margins were so thin that we could not hire the required number of engineers, nor could we hire those of the right quality. And the ones we did end up hiring, they just weren't good enough. The fourth lesson, do not start multiple streams of business until you have at least one working implementation or one stream of business that is actually making a profit for you. The enterprise networking scene was hotting up. It was the early 2000s. Everyone wanted their offices interconnected, like wide area networks and stuff like that. And the Linux operating system was gaining prominence rapidly. So what did we do? We gained a deep amount of expertise in it, in enterprise solutions and in implementing solutions based on the Linux operating system. Once we had done that, the next logical thing in our minds was to do, what else other than start another couple of companies. So we did exactly that. So we started another 2 companies, one that focused on enterprise solutions and the other was a Linux training institute. Now when we did that in the early 2000s, our work grew. And we were dragged, our work dragged us to all parts of Bombay. And not only that, the work demands of our Linux training institute actually dragged us to all parts of the country. And we trained a lot of corporates and a lot of engineering colleges. Now all this new and added work was great and fine, but it did extremely little to actually improve our profit margins. The fifth lesson, the sole objective of an enterprise is to earn a profit. And I say this in a healthy way. It took us many years, to realize that we were not a charitable organization. With the amount of work we had in hand, one would have assumed that we were earning a handsome profit. But sadly, the reverse was true. Our profit margins were wafer thin. We had no money to hire good engineers, and what's worse was that we could not pay our vendors on time. Things got to be so bad in the early 2000s that I used to dread, waking up in the mornings to go to work, and that was a bad situation to be in. The last and final lesson, know when to call it quits. It was almost 10 years since we had started up, and things were bad. We had no money. We could barely look after ourselves, like leave alone, like take care of our parents. Things were bleak. And I could see no light at the end of the long dark tunnel. And by then my partner Santosh, was married. He had a child. And one fine morning he came up to me and he asked me to shut down the business. I was shocked. And I objected because that was my life, my business. But he was adamant. And it was lucky for me, I guess, that he made me see sense. So it took us around 2 months, I guess, to wind down things and to pull the plug on our operations. But we did that. And we started looking out for jobs. I was lucky. I found a job which was in Bangalore and I moved to Bangalore. It was the year 2005 and I was all set to start a new life. And more about that in my second speech, which will come later. Thanks for now.
Awesome. So, Ryan, what did you think was going to be your presentation?
I think the two important things. One is that I prepare this mentally home many times. And the important thing for me is that I normally freeze at the beginning of a speech. But I took advice from Bishal, who said, if you have a problem at the beginning of a speech and you freeze, you just get the beginning down perfect. You memorize it. I find that really worked for me because the rest was, more or less
Experience.
Like a smoother flow. And I was speaking out of experience, like these things actually happened. And it was as if I was reliving my past.
Yeah. What I thought about your speech especially was it was like a straight speech from a management person. The way you gave it so clearly with examples. So it wasn't just that you gave the 6 points. You gave the points along with the examples behind it and a real life story. So I could relate a lot to it because I'm also into business and I understand how difficult it is to get things going and then know where to stop, find your target market and all that. So I think a brilliant job he's done, I feel. Pramod, you want to add something before I give it to Bishal?
I'm a man on a mission.